Hi and welcome to Film 3.uk Movie Recap. Today, we will be reviewing the movie Casablanca 1942, so if you're a fan of the film or just curious about it, stick around. In our video reviews, we may include some spoilers, so please be careful if you haven't seen the movie yet. The first part of the film Casablanca 1942 begins with a flashback. Rick Blaine, an American expatriate, is shown arriving in the Moroccan city of Casablanca in December 1941. He is there to wait for his former lover, Ilsa Lund, to arrive with her husband, Victor Laszlo. Laszlo is a famous Czech resistance leader, and the Nazis are after him. When they arrive at Rick's nightclub, Rick tells Ilsa that he still loves her and wants her to stay with him. However, Ilsa tells him that she can't because she's married to Laszlo. Rick says that he doesn't care and asks her to leave with him anyway, but she refuses. The next day, the police arrive at the nightclub and arrest Laszlo. Ilsa begs Rick to help them escape, and he eventually agrees. He gets them fake passports and tickets to America, and they all board a plane bound for Lisbon. Rick and Sam is playing cards when Ilsa walks in. She and Rick stare at each other for a moment before she walks over and sits down. They continue to stare at each other as Sam sings "Knock on Wood." Ilsa eventually breaks the silence and asks Rick how he has been. He replies that he has been fine. Ilsa asks about what happened to him after she left and he tells her that he went on a rampage. He then asks her about what happened to her and she tells him that she married Victor. Rick tells her that he is happy for her. Ilsa asks about Rick's club and he tells her that business is good. She compliments him on the club and he thanks her. They continue to talk and it is clear that they still have feelings for each other. However, they are interrupted by Victor. He and Ilsa leave and Rick appears to be heartbroken. The third part of Casablanca begins with Rick and Renaud arriving at the airport. Rick tells Ilsa that he is going to take her to America and she tells him that she will stay with him. They board the plane and take off. While in the air, Ilsa tells Rick that she loves him and he tells her that he loves her too. They then share a kiss. Rick Blaine, owner of the eponymous nightclub in Casablanca, is confronted by the arrival of his old flame Ilsa. She is accompanied by her husband, Victor Laszlo, a renowned Czech resistance leader. Ilsa had left Rick suddenly and without explanation in Paris, and now she appears seeking his help to obtain exit visas so that she and Victor can flee the Nazis. Ilsa wants to escape with Victor to America, but explains to Rick that she cannot live without him and must therefore stay with him in Casablanca. Rick is cynical and hurt by Ilsa's reappearance and initially refuses to help. However, he relenting when he learns that the Germans are seeking to capture Victor. Rick arranges for the club's doorman, Carl, to allow Victor and Ilsa to escape while the Germans are raiding the club. However, when Ilsa tells Rick that she still loves him and wants to stay with him, Rick allows her and Victor to escape without him. Rick and Ilsa have a heated discussion in which Ilsa reveals that she still loves Rick. However, Rick tells her that he is no longer in love with her and that their relationship is over. Ilsa is visibly heartbroken by this news. She tells Rick that she will be leaving for America with her husband, Victor Laszlo, the following day. The following day, Ilsa comes to say goodbye to Rick. She thanks him for everything he has done for her and her husband. Ilsa tells Rick that she will always love him and then she leaves. Later that day, the police arrive and arrest Rick for shooting Major Strasser. Captain Renaud tells Rick that he will be sentencing him to death in the morning. Rick Blaine owns a nightclub in Casablanca during World War II. German soldiers frequent his establishment and he is embroiled in a sexual affair with the club's head singer, Ilsa Lund. Ilsa's husband, Victor Laszlo, is a Czech resistance leader who is being hunted by the Nazis. Rick is ordered by the local prefect, Captain Renaud, to turn over Laszlo to the Germans. Rick is reluctant, but he knows that if he does not comply, Renaud will have him arrested and closed down. Rick goes to Ilsa's apartment to say goodbye, but she is not there. He leaves her a note, telling her that he loves her and asking her to forgive him. The sixth part of the film Casablanca 1942 begins with Rick Blaine going to Ilsa Lund's apartment to say goodbye. Ilsa is not there, so Rick leaves her a note. In the note, Rick tells Ilsa that he loves her and asks her to forgive him. Later, Rick meets with Captain Renaud to turn over Victor Laszlo to the Germans. Renaud is reluctant, but he knows that if he does not comply, Rick will have him arrested and closed down. As Laszlo is being led away by the Nazis, Rick tells Ilsa that he will always love her. Ilsa replies that she knows. The film ends with Rick and Renaud leaving Casablanca on a plane bound for America. Rick Blaine has been having trouble sleeping lately. He pours himself a drink and sits down at his piano, thinking about the woman he loved and lost, Ilsa Lund. When he hears someone come in, he assumes it is Ilsa, come back to him at last. However, it is only Sam. Rick's close friend and the pianist at Rick's club, Rick's Café Américain. Sam tries to lift Rick's spirits by playing As Time Goes By, the song that always makes Rick think of Ilsa. But Rick is not in the mood and asks Sam to stop playing. Sam leaves, and Rick is once again alone with his thoughts. Rick and Ilsa share a final, emotional goodbye at the train station. Ilsa is leaving on the last train out of the city and Rick has arranged for her and Laszlo to have passports and exit visas. They admit their love for each other, but know that they cannot be together. Ilsa tells Rick that she will always love him and they part ways. Rick tells Sam to play As Time Goes By. Ilsa and Rick dance. Ilsa asks Rick how he stayed alive during the war. He says he bet on the Germans. They kiss. Ilsa asks Rick to leave with her on the last plane to Lisbon. He agrees, but says they will have to take her husband, Laszlo, too. Laszlo overhears their conversation and is happy to be able to leave with them. Of the film in the 10th part of the film, as the Nazis close in on Rick and Ilsa's escape, Laszlo leads the resistance in a final stand against the Germans. Though they are outnumbered and outgunned, the resistance fighters put up a brave fight. Ultimately, the Germans prevail and the resistance is forced to retreat. Rick and Ilsa make their way to the airport, where they bid each other a tearful goodbye.